public forum, I do not see anybody, but if anyone is on here that I don't see from the public that would like to share anything, now's your time. Seeing none, I'm going to move on to approval of minutes is next on our agenda. I sent out the minutes last night. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to review them.
They
Awesome. Oh,
were excellent. They were
hold.
excellent. I have to abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Yeah, so we're not going to have enough to vote on that because Ed wasn't at that.
Well, you don't have to abstain if you watch the movie. You
Oh,
just
really?
have to be cognizant of
Yeah,
that the minutes reflect the meeting.
Okay, then I can do it.
great. So then thanks for that. I'll take a motion for approval of last month's minutes.
I'll make a
So
motion to approve minutes.
Leslie second.
Okay. And I'll go down my list. Bill,
Lenane, yes.
Kate,
Caraccio, yes.
Lynn,
Stukup, yes.
Walter,
Leslie, yes.
Ed,
Stay.
and
I
myself.
haven't watched the movie.
And myself is a yes. Okay, so we are all set. Thank you very much. The next up on our agenda is discussion of the repair project, progress to date and the look ahead. So Brian, Mike, Stephen, anyone want to jump in on that?
Sure. I think maybe instead of having a separate line item, I think we'll go through the progress of our presentation and then have questions after that. Brian, I jumped in there unless you had other thoughts as to how to provide this update.
All good.
Okay. You want to take us through all this, Mike, and I'll jump in on the change orders. How does that work for you, Mike?
Yeah, that works for me. I just got to forward the link to Bob so he can join us as well.
Yes.
Just give me one moment.
Here, I'll do that, Mike. You do your thing. I'll do that. I'll get that to Bob.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. So first up, we have our invoices recommended for payment for the end of November. Just one thing I'd like to note here is that Seaver's invoice, it's still technically in draft form, but we don't foresee it increasing. So this dollar value of 521,139 should be the maximum for that. So this is our invoice, Vertex's invoice, LPA's invoice, and Seaver's invoice. Is there any questions on this?
Nope.
I guess I think one of the things missing from the presentations, at least that I've seen, is it's hard for us to have any feel of where we are in the process. There's no big picture, and this is the amount we expected to be at now, or not expected to be at now, or I guess I'm looking for a little more of that in the materials we get, because it's not like we're not going to approve this, but it's nice to get an idea of
I can speak to that one,
is that
Walter.
where we kind of expect to be? And I think that would be a good I don't know, in our project business, or Gantt charts and things like that, to see where we are on progress and where we are on money.
Sure. I can speak to that one a little bit, Walter. So in our monthly report, what we can put in there too, in addition to kind of the financials on percentages on where we are on the contract and where we are on the schedule. But what I have is a couple updated versions of the cash flow from Seaver as well that I've been working with town accounting, that kind of gives us a snapshot on how much we've expended compared to the purchase order that we have, and where that lines up in the schedule. So with the monthly report that Lynn sends out, I think it's the second page that kind of dives into the financials, but I think I know what you're looking for. Maybe we'll clean it up a little for next month just to give a little more clear snapshot where we are in time.
Could you tell me which one of the 7 things we got was considered the monthly report? Because I got
Yeah, it would be
little
monthly
lost now.
report contained in there. Cover page will give you kind of a very high level snapshot on issues, schedule, and then inside of that, in addition to the pictures, there will be a financial snapshot as well, which will also give you a burn rate of our contingencies to date. And then in in addition to the what you see for recommended for payments, with that you'll get to see open POs, what's been committed to date, and what's remaining is left unspent.
Okay, I'm
And
not really
just for
seeing that.
clarity, just for clarity, that hasn't been issued
Correct.
yet for
Right.
this month,
Oh,
because
well, we
we
gotta
just
have that
received.
before the meeting.
I would also I would agree with that wholeheartedly. We just received Seaver's finalized or partially finalized invoice last night, and we're pushing them very hard to correct that in the future because we would also like it prior to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goal is
So,
to get it by the 25th of the previous month.
yeah, I agree. I mean,
Right.
we should be getting it by the week before the weekend of the Tuesday
100%
meeting.
agree.
Yeah.
Trust me,
100%
Walter,
agree.
I'm advocating for that. And if you think that we should move this meeting, that's something we can consider. So it's
No,
at the
because
4th.
my
Okay.
general impression is they will be later
Okay.
because I'm not convinced that they're late because of need.
Okay.
And people that are late get later when you allow them to be later. So
Mhm.
I don't I think that well, I'll
Yeah.
let the project managers or OPM speak, but I don't think you're doing an unreasonable ask to have the stuff done by then, are you?
No,
Because
no, we are not.
we're talking about November here. It's
Yes,
December, I don't even know what it is.
16.
16,
16.
something like
Yeah.
that.
No, I think I speak for Vertex when we say we're in 100% agreement on that. And those that attend the OIC meeting know how hard we push them on getting the monthly items as
I
soon as we
appreciate that.
can.
I don't want to shoot the
And
messenger.
no, I appreciate that. It affects me too. It affects me getting all my monthly reports done. So I'm just as interested. Um,
Uh, just my 2 cents worth. I was going to report at the end of the meeting that we do have a very strong team. And Walter, today, as in the past meetings, Vertex has been outstanding in pushing the contractor, Seaver, to get these things. And it was loud and clear today. And Lynn graciously offered pushing it, but we all echoed that, just what you said, Walter. We need to have them do these things on time. And I can speak from being at least 95% of the meetings, and the schedule, although the end date looks good, but Vertex is pushing them on little bits and pieces that have a lot. And Bob pushes them from the field, and Steve stays on top of it on the weekly meetings. So I just wanted to echo that it's not being lost, and Vertex is pushing hard every week. So
Thank you, Bill.
Sounds good to me.
So we can
you.
get the next vendor information packet by the 16th of January. That's when we really need it.
Mhm.
Just to throw in my half a cent, I was looking at all the change orders and saying, okay, how much does this add up to? How is this hitting our contingencies and how much headroom do we have? So I think that's the same, sort of very closely related to what Walter's asking for, and I strongly support getting the stuff in when we need it.
And that's also going to be included in the monthly report and also further down in this section. But just to circle back to the invoices and also this page, this is our budget stats report, which is also included in the vendor invoice package, which shows all the amounts we've had committed to date for each line item, what has been spent to date, and then what is left to spend. So you can kind of see kind of where we're at between the two. This will be updated to include, this hasn't been updated to include the Seaver invoice yet because we just got that last night, but we're pushing to get the vendor invoice packet out to you as soon as possible. So you can have the accurate information. And I think this is kind of what you were referring to, Ed, with the contingency status. So this is a snapshot at the end of November. So we have total remaining contingency to date with the approval of the previous change order number 1. We're sitting at roughly 952,000 with 226,000 for estimated, submitted, and pending. And if all of those are approved, we would still be sitting at 725,000. This a little bit different, but where we sit right now with the log as it stands, we're roughly, if we approve everything that's estimated right now, we'd still just be sitting under 20% of the total contingency used.
Can you shift to slideshow mode so we can?
Yep.
It's larger.
And we'll get there.
There we go.
All right. Does anybody want to review any of these pages? I'm happy to answer any questions. But this is what we were just looking at here. So this is the status of our contingency as of the end of November. Are there any questions on the financials before I move on to changes or change requests?
Only Mike, only the comment
Yes.
that a true statement, we've only used 20% of it. But somewhere, I'm sure Steve will bring up, there's a couple of big items that have popped up that haven't been evaluated just yet. So I just want to be cautious for the trustees that we take each change order that comes along and be careful that we don't use unnecessary items that the public would not approve us. And I don't think they will, but I just want us to be cautious as we move forward.
Yep.
Most of all of this is, and Lynn will tell you, she's there at every meeting, that a lot of this detail is covered and covered very well. And it's good to see it here, but I think anybody would be, it'd be worthwhile their input to at least review the weekly meetings so that they can, when it comes to the monthly report, they'll be on top of it. So.
And just to kind of echo you there, Bill, is that right now as it stands, our approved change orders are 0.4% of the contingency. And then if everything is approved, even the rough orders that we have right now, that'd be at 20%.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Before we go into the change orders, can I take someone to make a motion to accept that vendor invoice package?
I also move.
Okay, can I have someone second it?
A comment on Sears. Can we say it's not to exceed that amount? Because I heard you say you haven't reviewed some pieces.
Yep.
Right.
So
it
Eddie,
has, it has been reviewed. I just want to clarify, it has been reviewed. It's just undergoing notarization and certification. So we don't expect that value to go up. So not to exceed would be correct.
Okay.
Ed, are you good with that since you made the motion to make it a not
Yes.
to?
So I'll amend my motion to approve the vendor invoice package with the amount for Seaver handled as a not to exceed amount.
Perfect. Can I have someone second that?
I'll second.
Oh. Either way.
Just go down on my screen. Bill?
Lenine, yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kate?
Baldwin, yes.
Caraccio, yes.
Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Pete?
Dunbeck, yes.
Myself is a yes. Did I miss anybody that hopped on? Al?
Gordon, yes.
Anybody else? Okay, great. Then we can move on to change orders.
Thank you. So changes.
Okay, I can jump in here, Mike, with your good presentation. Just one comment on the Seaver invoice. That number is confirmed, and just further breakdown of one of the equipment items within the requisition is what remains. And all of this was this afternoon's work to get it this far. And as the folks that attend the meetings know, there's no lack of effort to get them to provide two things more timely, two very important things. One is this requisition, because what happens with the requisition, we receive it, we review it, we provide comments back to the contractor. they go to their subcontractors with those comments and they provide that back to us. And this item, this one that remains as of this minute, is one that just didn't get addressed from the comments that. So just with all of those back and forths, it just eats up time unless somebody stays on it very closely. And that isn't what, and if it isn't watched very closely, you end up this close. So we made pretty clear that that's not acceptable. I assure you, our accounting department is letting us hear it too, that it's not acceptable because we haven't issued that packet, all of those things that are very important. And the schedule submission is this exact same conversation, so that we don't have any of this rushed for this meeting. And so we're, as you've heard, working really hard with the contractor to get this process to work better. So just a bit of a summary on that. So to get into these items here, two of them you've seen before, which is the PCO number 4, that R3 means it's gone back and forth with reviews and resubmissions 3 times. And that's just to give you a sense for the process that we've gone through with it. And that number 6, R2, you've seen before as well, and that's the gypsum wallboard, that's GWB, that's being put up in places where that wall covering was torn down or removed, and not in a clean fashion as was hoped and as the contract documents contemplated. So you've seen those 2 before. So it's the first one, soffit demo, number 3, and number 5, and number 9, and I'll speak to those now. Soffit demo. This is a fairly simple thing, which is that some soffits that were to be removed weren't shown on the plans to be removed. Super common thing. That's what a construction contingency is for. This work was done under the supervision of Bob Tucker, our on-site guy, who was on site at all times, and he tracked time and slips for this work. So it's then just a matter of comparing those slips for the contractor and then submitting the cost based on the hours done in those slips. So that's what the first item is, recommended for acceptance. Number 5, R1, pre-action electrical. This is fire alarm system components that didn't show on the electrical plans, wiring and power wiring to them. Again, it's an oversight. And I show you, none of this stuff is fun to present because mostly the cost items that come up are issues with the plans, and that's just how this works. So it's not, it's not fun to present, but these are what the cost items are on the project, and we need to, in order to proceed and then authorize this work that is additional, need permission. So this is the wiring that was, and wiring costs that were, that is required to do this with this miss on the plans. This next one, number 9, is very different. There are 2, as you know, and we've got a picture of this a little later on. Bob will show you. There's work that was done out in front on Main Street and also on Parkman Street, and the town issued 2 changes, 1 change to each area. The one in the front, the change to that work, and we'll show you a picture that really shows it clearly, the current condition. The additional request that the DPW made was to come back in the spring and scrape up, if you will, the pavement patch that's in place and extend that out 2 feet beyond the patch and redo that with a 2-inch finish coat. And that wasn't contemplated in the documents. We did review the drawings with DPW before the permit set was issued and the project was purchased. This happens all the time with towns. It's unfortunate, but it happens all the time that they come up with requirements later, even though they were given an opportunity to find these things. Is what it is, and that's the requirement. That's the requirement that they've requested there. So that's out in front on Main Street. Over on Parkman Street, there's piping that connected over to. This is all under the road that we're going to cut and cap, and the plan showed that.
Oops. We just lost Steve.
We did.
I'm happy to pick up the explanation. If you, up to you, Bob.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, sure. The cutting and capping on the domestic water line will go from the building out into the street and the cap will be in place in the street. That'll be and towns oftentimes do that in order to have any future work that they may need to do uh, within the town right away, and not having to tear up sidewalks or go into um, a, a, a homeowner's property. So rather than make an exception with a town property, let's take the worst case example and say in the future the town decides to sell this building to a private party. They wouldn't have an automatic right to be able to go onto that property to work on that water line. So they will require us to make that cap in the street.
That makes sense. Any questions on that?
I don't know if Steve's come back
Any questions
yet,
on any of the changes as presented?
I'll make a move to accept these changes as presented to the total amount of $86,391.15.
Sounds good. Hold on one second.
If I could just add too, sorry, I know the motion's been made already. Just for clarification too, if you can see that R1, R3, R1, that's indicative of the amount of revisions that have gone back and forth between either our team or LPAs and Seaver. So it's gone through quite a few rounds of vetting on this, working out things, making sure that appropriate wage rates are also being applied to this, and making sure nothing is being redundant with what we've already paid for.
All right. I also just have a question about the numbering. So up top it says change order number 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. So just for clarification, the notes.
Yep.
Are those 2 different sets of numbers? What's happening?
They are. So the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9, that's their pending change order number or potential change order number.
Yeah.
So that's the number we assign to them as they are submitted by the contractor. Okay. So we can track them in our log. And then the overall number 2 is a bundle of those potential changes that are put together and then will be issued as a package. Just a little simpler sometimes that way.
Okay.
Opposed to doing each one individually.
For this motion, I'm going to put in that we're motion to approve overall change order number 2, and that will cover all of these. Does that sound right? Al, I see your hand up. Thank you.
Yeah, I've just got a question in regards to the digging up the old line and capping it. Is that going to be done before the road is finished so that we don't get billed for having to do it all over again?
Actually, that water line that we need to cut and cap is on the side of the library and not on West Main Street. So no, we won't be shall we say double dipping on the same repair.
But once it's dug up on Parkman Street, is that going to have to be redone also?
The second pavement. Sure. Yeah.
It probably will be. Towns do this so that if there is any settlement that takes place during the 4 to 6 months that it will be till we replace with a final cap. If there is any settlement, we're able to go in there, take care of it, and give you a quality roadway that will stand the test of time and not end up with I'm sure, as you've seen in some towns, very rough, bumpy patches in the road.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the intent is to repair the road and put it in a condition that is like it was previously, if not better, to finish patch it.
Just I guess a question, because in the future, would we be seeing these on reports as individual PCOs, or will they be shown as as a lump sum, because in that case, then approving them more as PCO numbers might make sense.
You want me to take that, Mike? So in the report, Walter, you'll see in the very back of it will be the PCO log as part of the vendor invoice packet, which is a breakdown of every potential change order that's been submitted to date. And they're color coded whether they've been already recommended and approved and lumped into what we call an owner change order at that point,
Okay.
whether it's under review or whether it's void or whether it's been rejected. And then furthermore, on the not only vendor invoice packet, but monthly reports, what you'll see after things have been recommended and approved, they'll be lumped together as, we'll call it owner change order number 2, which has already been committed to the purchase order of Seaver.
Okay. And a further question would be if, for instance, in the future there was an item like, say, number 6 here or something we didn't want to do, we could approve the others without that one.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And that's
Just
why
wanted
that's why this is draft change order number 2, because this does not proceed and we do not authorize Seaver to perform any of this work until it's been approved by this committee.
Sounds good.
So then I have a question. If this is a draft, are we going to get a final one to have to vote on? Or like,
No,
what are we voting on if this is just a draft?
that this is approved.
It becomes the real thing once it's approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
you are correct, though, Lynn. Administratively, once this is approved, it will go on an actual contract amendment for Seaver Construction that will
Okay.
show their previous PO amount, their new PO amount. That will need to be signed by our designer, an owner rep, as well as Seaver.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I get it.
One other question. I noticed for the capping the water line, they're assuming that we, the town, can tell them where that water line is. Do we know, is that a good assumption?
We do know where that water line is.
Okay.
We
It's the
also require
existing
there'll
one,
be
yeah.
there'll be full as-built done at the end of the job as well, Ed, that will be turned back over the town so that
Okay.
if they didn't know where it was, will know now after the project. They'll have the as-built
Yeah.
on file.
This was a known thing as well. The only change here is that instead of cutting and capping within the property lines of the library, it's now in the street. So
Okay.
we know where it is.
Cool.
As long as the as-built are correct.
Any other questions? Okay, so then I have a open motion. I need it seconded.
Leslie second.
All right, and then I'll go down my list. Bill,
Lenine, yes.
Ed,
Boone, yes.
Kate,
Coraggio, yes.
Lynn,
Sukup, yes.
Walter,
Leslie, yes.
Pete,
Ben Beck, yes.
Al,
Gordon, yes.
and myself, Johnston, is a yes. I don't see anybody else, so those are approved.
Thank you. Moving on to our construction update.
Yes, yeah, we've been just talking about the patches. You'll notice the beginning of our first snowfall as we were placing the asphalt over the temporary asphalt over the trench for the new water line and sprinkler line. It was very timely, fortunately for everybody, so that if we had received a plowable amount of snow, then the town would have been able to take care of the roads without any problems whatsoever. I thought they did a very good job in placing the fill to begin with, compacting it before laying down the asphalt. They laid down a good amount of asphalt, and you end up with a nice strong patch for the winter. And that's where we stand. That's your new water lines.
Very exciting.
It is definitely. Photograph on the second floor main area framing. It's actually looking from the northwest corner of the building, back towards to the south, or southeast, I should say. You can see some of the framing for the new bathrooms, also meeting space, etc. But it's coming along nicely. Ductwork's up in the air. We're making progress. The front portion of the original building, with the bookcases removed. I would like to make a note at this point that the contractor had estimated 64 man hours to remove the bookcases on both sides of the front of the building. They ended up doing that work as we felt, and recommended to you folks, I believe, that we should do it on a T&M basis. They were able to do it in less time, to the point that it only took them about 26 man hours to do the removal of those built-in place bookshelves.
Sure.
They did the work carefully and methodically to make sure that they did as little damage as possible to the remaining woodwork within the building. And here's down on the level 1 framing and roof. Once again, ductwork up in the air. There's a fair amount of wiring, rough wiring that's in place up above. We now have sprinkler pipe throughout on the first floor here.
Wow.
You can see the little red couplings on the pipe. Those are where branch lines would be coming off. And we're making good progress. We're expecting the majority of our door frames to be coming in for the interior walls on tomorrow. And we have already scheduled our drywallers to return on Monday to be able to start doing some drywall work and installing the door frames, and also get our final, I say final, rough inspections on the wall framing, and also electrical.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, if I may, I just had a couple quick updates too, just from today,
Just
hot
today's
off the
meeting.
press. We had a couple things that we did today. We met with our builder's risk insurance representative. That policy is through the town, and so the representative comes out. They want to come out periodically throughout construction to take a look at progress, make sure that from an insurance standpoint that they're mitigating their risk. So I think we're in compliance. He'll issue a report. We'll make sure that if there's any concerns that he has, that we'll take care of that. We'll probably have another walkthrough with him in the next few months. We also had an initial meeting and a kickoff meeting with a potential vendor for FF&E or furniture throughout the facility. That was Tucker Interiors. We met with the owner. She came out today. Had a great meeting with Kate and her staff. Really went through room by room what the needs are going to be, and the challenges that they think about getting all of their collection into what has been put down on paper. And so she's going to go back and start putting some rough numbers together, and put some lead times and schedules together. We'll review that. We'll also go through a furniture package, circulation desks, things of that nature. We'll compare that to where we sat with our proposed budget that we had. We originally had some takeoff numbers for furniture. We'll make sure that we are within. If we need to do some work, we'll hold some more meetings after that. So furniture procurement, I would say, is underway, and I think we'll keep the momentum going into the new year to make sure that we are fully furnished before moving back in.
I have a follow-up. My apologies. I don't know what happened. I don't know when I froze there. I asked to see if there was a motion out there and nobody moved. Then I was starting to get suspicious. So, and it took me some significant time to get back in the meeting. So I
That,
apologize. I assume my teammates picked up the ball on the changes, though I certainly can answer any questions if there are any, and apologize. I don't know why I got bumped there.
no worries at
Um,
all. That happens. But just to
okay.
fill you up in speed, yep, your team picked it right up. We voted and approved all of those.
All
So
right. Perfect. Thank you.
have gone through the construction update and are just finishing up the last minute updates from today's meeting.
And I do have one more, and Steve, you can elaborate if you'd like on this. Is while we may not have it picked up in our monthly report within the past few days, there are some things that we're tracking right now from a unforeseen condition standpoint that we want to make sure that we're at least communicating to you, even though we don't have a solution and we don't have a direction yet on what we're doing. Part
Yeah,
of the scope was to remove. Oh yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I can jump in. Appreciate it. And Brian, we didn't connect after. So the scope of work is has to do with the chiller piping. And so that means the heating system piping, and that piping is insulated throughout the building. And this is really fresh information. We don't have a lot yet on it, but we want to share it with you. The insulation around the pipe was removed, and what that exposed was significant rust on the piping throughout. I don't know if is it beyond, Bob, is it beyond the basement level, or is it just that level?
It's
That's fresh.
really the basement level is
Yeah, okay,
where
perfect.
the vast majority is.
Yeah, so the engineer was out on site on Friday. We received a report yesterday on it, and we're moving on it, which is his recommendation is, well, maybe we have to replace it, which would be costly. I did take Bill and Bob down to look at that piping after the construction meeting today. My hope is that it's a surface rust, and as we were looking at that today, there was an area that was cut, and I have a photo of it, but basically what it shows is about, my guess, 95% of the wall thickness is completely intact. That's my guess in looking at the photo that I took in standing with the other gentleman there this afternoon. The next step on this, a couple of things. One is to have the contractor make other cuts in the pipe in various sections around the building, just to see how thick the wall of that pipe is and how disturbed that rust, what disturbance that rust has caused, and have the mechanical engineer back out to have a look at that. This is something I have not seen before, and so we're trying to understand it, and we didn't want to not tell you about it. I was very hopeful and am very hopeful after seeing the picture and how that looked today with a cut through the pipe. And I didn't think Brian had seen that yet. That's why I want to jump in here, because this is all happening, this afternoon information. So we're tracking that. We're going to run it down. We're going to figure out what the right job is after an exhaustive study of this, not to cut corners and do something and not replace it if it should be replaced. But we also want to make sure, if that's necessary, and do it if it's necessary. But if it is not, and there are other ways to go about this, then we'll do that. So that's what Bill mentioned early in this meeting, something that we'll get into some description of later, and this is what he was referencing when he made that comment. So that's all we know now, but we certainly are on it to try to figure out better what this is about and what needs to be done with it.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the heads up.
Steve, is there also ductwork that's being evaluated? Am I understanding that right?
I'm not aware of that piece. This is all fresh. No? Okay, good.
No.
All right. Okay, good.
No, the ductwork that's there is fine. They had exposed the bottom of the ductwork, really just verifying the mastic that had been used on the joints. But they originally removed only what was required. So what's there is going to stay there. It'll just be re-encapsulated.
Thank you.
Do we have, or are we going to get any idea of why the pipes are rusted? Is that in particular,
Sure.
Is that an ongoing condition we have to worry about?
So, a great question. And again, this is quite new. The engineer's comment, again, we're going by one site visit, and one comment was that there was a vapor barrier that was not part of the insulation. I'm not familiar with that. A vapor barrier is part of the insulation, so we don't know exactly, but that was his comment. Like, there's no condition in the building that if it happens here, it wouldn't happen in lots of places. There's nothing about the building that suddenly that would happen. So though it is something that I and I don't think anybody in the building today had seen before. So we're trying to figure that out and determine exactly what's needed.
You said it could be expensive to replace it all. How expensive is expensive? Just in very ballpark terms.
Yeah, I don't even have a ballpark, truthfully. I don't know if anybody does, but we're I don't even know. I'm not even going to throw a number because it's completely made up, which isn't helpful.
Okay. Right. Okay.
And we are going to be working with the contractor to perform exploratory work and with the engineer as well, so we can see the extent of how deep it went into the piping, because that'll also determine the amount of replacement or what corrective work we need to do.
Is new insulation getting put on in any case?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else? I hope nothing else came up.
No. No, absolutely not, actually, is the answer to that. We have all very normal things that have come up so far. And in that sense, we're doing very well on the job as far as surprises. This one just came up. Usually at this point, you've discovered most of the things. So in taking the insulation off the pipe is when this was discovered. Take it off so you could then put new, and better performing modern insulation on it. So so certainly stay tuned on this, and hopefully it'll work out without much cost to it, but we'll certainly keep informed.
Excellent. Thank you. We appreciate the timely information and look forward to hearing what a possible solution is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else? Any other building related issues that we need to discuss? If not, I'm looking at our next meeting to be on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. 3:30 on Zoom. So that sounds right to everybody. Okay. If nothing else, then at 4:13, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Okay. Second, let's go down my list. Bill?
Lenine, yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kate?
Roger, yes.
Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Pete?
Dunbeck, yes.
Al?
Gordon, yes.
And myself is yes. On behalf of the library trustees and the building committee, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your hard work. We really appreciate it. And I wish you all a very happy holiday.
Same to you.
Likewise.
Happy
Thank
holidays
you.
to all.
Thank you all.